Hi everyone, Slangel here from Slangel Designs, and today we're back with the next installment of the teddy bear series. Today we are going to work on the arm. Now there's two arms. You're going to make two. I did do one just to show you what it's going to look like when it's all done. So I know I had mentioned towards the first that you're going to stuff things at the end. The arm and the legs, which unfortunately I totally forgot about this. You need to stuff when you get up to a certain row, just because the hole gets fairly small and there's a bit of a curve, and I'll show you, and that's when you do the decreases. So you're going to make two of these and leave a fairly long tail because you'll use that to sew it onto the little guy's body. Okay, so that's what your arm is going to look like. So today you're going to need your yarn that you're working with, your main color. You're also going to need your crochet hook that you're using, your yarn needle, and some of the stuffing, the polyfill. So again, the pattern, I will put the link in the description, free PDF download. Feel free to grab that and work along. As well, I will put a link to the single crochet tutorial, and all the materials are listed in the first video as well that you're going to need for the whole project. So we're getting close towards the end. So the next video will be the legs, and then we'll have the body, and then we'll have putting it together. So we're getting there. You're doing good. All right, so like all our other ones, we're going to start with the magic ring. And I'm not going to use the, I'm just going to leave a long tail so that I can use that as my stitch marker. And that way it also weaves it in and out throughout the project and keeps it secure. So the magic ring, much like before, you're going to make your loop. Put your hook in underneath. Grab that working yarn and secure it with a slip stitch there. So that's your magic ring. Now we're going to put 6 single crochets inside this ring. This does not count. That's just the slip stitch to secure it. So 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I find it's a little slow to begin because there's not much to hold on to. Then you're going to pull that tail and bring your ring together. So we have our 6 single crochets. Now we're going to move on to round 1, where we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. And again, on the pattern in the end of the row, it lists in brackets the number of stitches you should have. So I'm going to bring my tail forward from my magic ring to use that as my stitch marker. So again, it's a little tight at first to get, my fingers aren't working very good today. All right, 2 single crochets in that first stitch, and 2 single crochets in each one around, so that you have 12 altogether. And again, as I mentioned before with the magic ring, if your center circle opens up a little bit, no worries. You can always tug on that tail to tighten it back up and close it over. All right. And when you get to the end, if you're somewhat new to doing it like this, so again, my circle kind of opened up, I'm just going to give it a little pull, close it right back up. So now, just let me take my hook out of there for a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have my 12. So that finishes round 1. I'm going to take this tail and move it behind. And again, if you're more comfortable adding a different colored contrasting piece of yarn, just a little end piece you had left over from something, so that you can see it a little easier, go right ahead. So now we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next, and that's the repeat around. We're going to grow the size of the circle. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 single crochets in the same stitch, 1 in the next, 2, and 1. Now again, let's count just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have our 18, and that ends that round. So we need to do one more round of increases. So I'm going to pull my tail forward to mark my stitch placement for the beginning of the round. We're going to put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then single crochet once in each of the next 2, and that's your repeat for a round there. So the arms work up fairly fast, and if you wanted to, and I've done this in the past, just when somebody has had a request for color combinations and stuff, I've done partway up the arm, swapped out the colors. If you do that, just make note of what rounds you've changed colors on so that you can make your second arm the exact same. So that they will match and are identical on each side. And I was also thinking, if anybody has any requests just for certain stitches they're confused about that they might want a tutorial on that, let me know in the comment section. Let me know again if you have any parts of this you need clarification on. I'd be more than happy to do that for you. I have some ideas for some other projects coming up, for things we can work on, some other granny squares and other stitches and other blankets. All right, so that finishes round 3. Now for rounds 4 to 8, super simple. You're going to single crochet around in each stitch, just 1 single crochet in each one. So I'm going to get started on mine. If you want to pause your video, and we'll meet up at the end of round 8 to pick up where we need to move on. You're just going to do your single crochet all the way around. It's going to start turning it into that little kind of a cup shape. Make sure that your good side of your work is always facing you. So I'm going to keep single crocheting to get my rounds done here. You pause and do the same, and press play when you're ready, and we'll meet back up for round 9. Okay, so we have reached to the end of round 8, and this is what your part of the arm should look like, almost just like a little cup. So what we're going to do is we're going to do round 9, which is single crochet decrease 4 times. What that means is you're going to single crochet 2 together 4 times in a row. So put your hook in, yarn over, pull through, put your hook in the next one, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. That's 1 decrease. So we're going to do that again. Yarn over, pull through, put your hook in, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. 2 more times. So that's 4, and what that's going to do is make the little curve here of the arm. Okay, kind of helps make the kind of the paw part. All right, so then you're going to single crochet in the remaining stitches until you get around to the beginning. So we're going to do that. By this point, you're going to be experts in the single crochet. And again, if you decide you want to make some stripes to make it almost look like he's wearing a little sweater, just make note on your pattern when you're doing your first arm where it is you've changed the color so you can match it up for the second arm. And then try to, when you're doing the body, if you wanted to make it look like a sweater, just swap your yarn out at certain parts. All right, so that finishes round 9. So now for round 10, it wants us to single crochet, decrease 2 times. So we're gonna put our hook in, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on our hook, yarn or hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, so you have your 3, yarn over, pull all 3, do that again. That's 2, and then we'll just single crochet around. So you can see we're starting to make it a smaller opening, which is why for the arms, once you get to a certain point, it's important to start stuffing them so that you don't have to try to fight with it later. It just makes it easier, and then the arm turns out a little bit better. All right, let's see. We're getting towards the end there. And also put in the comments, I'd love to know where you're watching the videos from. Be interested to see just what parts of the world people are taking a peek and maybe making their own. All right, so that finishes that round. So that's the end of round 10. So we should be down to 18 stitches. So now for rounds 11 to 14, just straight single crochet around again. So we'll do that. So I'm going to work on my rounds. If you want to pause the video here and do yours, and then press play when you reach the end of round 14, and we'll pick it up from there, and I'll meet you there. Right back. Okay, so that does rounds 11 to 14, and now I do have a note in there. So now it's going to be the time. Just kind of pull out your loop there so that you don't lose your stitch and doesn't start coming undone to you. Now's the time you're going to want to start putting a little bit of the stuffing in. So I have a little bit here, and you want these, just kind of get it down in there, to be firm and not too squishy, but you don't want to stretch the arm so much that the stitches start coming apart and spreading so that you can kind of see in. So you want it, like I said, you want it kind of firm, but not overstuffed, okay? So for round 15, it wants us to single crochet 4. So we'll do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then single crochet decrease. And then we're going to repeat that around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again the single crochet decrease. So your hook in, pull up your yarn, hook in the next one, pull up your yarn, yarn over and through all 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet decrease. And that finishes round 15. So for round 16 and 17, we're just going to single crochet around. So I'm going to get doing that here. And this won't take long, so we're just going to keep on going together. So hopefully if you've been making this bear, things have been going smoothly for you. I would love to see some of your finished work when it's all done, just to see how you got along and what colors you used, and if you've personalized it at all, because this is you can customize this quite a bit actually with the colors. And you know, if you wanted to try to make it look like a little sweater, if you wanted to, I've made one at Christmas and made a little scarf for it and did it kind of Christmassy. All right, so this is the And again, as I mentioned before, if you have any suggestions or something of things that you might like to have a tutorial on, if there's a stitch that you're having issues with, or if you've seen a project that you might like to see done in more detail, if it's a project I can do without having to worry about any kind of copyright issues, because that's the last thing I want to do is step on anybody's toes when it comes to their own patterns and stuff. So, all right, so we're coming up to the end of our row here. So now for round 18, you want to single crochet 3 stitches and then single crochet decrease. And you'll notice we're getting a little spot for some more stuffing, so we're gonna, so single crochet 3 and then do our decrease. So after this row, we're going to put a little bit more of the polyfill in just to fill that hole up, but we don't want to fill it too tight because we want the arm to sit flat when we sew it onto the body up by the neck. But you can see how if we had left this right till the end, you could technically still stuff it, but you'd have to have something to help you get the yarn down towards the bottom. All right. And then one more decrease, and that'll finish the row there. So now we only have one round left. So what I'm going to do is just pull my hook out a little bit so my stitch won't go anywhere. I'm just going to grab a little bit more of my fill and just gently push it in, making sure it's a little firm, but not over. And I'm just kind of comparing it to my other one. That should be good. You want them to feel the same. So now we have one more row of single crochet around. So as you can see, it doesn't really take too long to get the arm done. And once you get comfortable with the first one, the second one may even go a little quicker for you once you've seen what you're doing. So we're at the end of the round there. So what I'm going to do, because I haven't been using, this is the tail from my magic ring, so it's all woven in throughout those stitches. I'm just going to cut that off. I can safely do that now and get rid of it. I had a little bit, I took too much out of my bag, so I'm just going to tuck that back in so the cat doesn't get it. Now, you want to take a fairly long tail. I'd say at least 7 inches. Okay, then what you're going to do to finish this part off, you're going to slip stitch into the next one, which is put your hook in through your stitches, pull through those stitches, and then pull through the one on your hook and pull it out. Now, take your darning needle, or your yarn needle, however you like to call it. You have to close up this arm. So what you're going to do is kind of take your needle in through this side and then come back in. Sorry, I went in through this side and now I'm going to come back in this way and then over through this way. You're just going to zigzag back and forth between the sides of the stitches. And then when you get to the end, just kind of make sure it's nice and closed. Doesn't have to be too tight. And then just put a little knot there. You're not cutting this off because what's left here for this tail, that's what you're going to use to sew it to the body. Okay. So there we have, and you'll notice that they're like this. So on one side it's going to be facing this way, on the other side it'll be facing so that the arms are like that. They're two little hands. Okay, so that's the end of the video for the arms. So again, next time we're going to be working on the legs and then the body, and then we'll be putting it together. So super simple, super easy. Just big tip is don't overfill them, okay? Firm enough, but not too much that it's going to make your stitches spread open a little bit and you'll be able to see the stuffing inside. Okay? So, all right, if you have any questions or need clarification, again, put them in the comment section. I would love to get back to you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care and happy crocheting.